There's a scene in Way of the Peaceful Warrior, which is a book by Dan Millman, but it really portrays this idea of fate and free will in Stoic philosophy. Dan was a gymnast, and a good one at that. He excelled in his sport, and he was on the national team in America. He met a sage. He named him Socrates, interestingly enough, who the Stoics also thought was a sage. They didn't say sage in the book, by the way. This is the term I give him because he was sort of this enlightened individual, so I would call him a sage. But Socrates basically was teaching him how to live. He was taking him on as a philosophical mentor or mentee, and most of his teachings were aligned with Stoicism. Not all, though, but most were aligned with Stoicism. Dan went home one day to visit his parents, and he was at his parents' house, and he saw his old motorcycle, and he got on the motorcycle, and he went out for a ride. He ended up crashing, and he almost killed himself. He went to the hospital, he broke his leg, and they worked on him, and long story short, he ended up with a broken leg, with a metal rod through it. You can imagine how frustrated he was. So here we have this gymnast who's on top of the world, he's doing really well, he's going to school, he's competing at the highest level, or close to the highest level, only to have a motorcycle accident. He goes through a bit of a bitter phase, angry at the world for the tragedy that befell him. But his mentor, Socrates, wasn't particularly fazed by it. He told him that he needed to continue his gymnastics training. A warrior doesn't give up what he loves, Dan. He brings the love to what he does. Dan pushes back, of course, stating that he has a steel rod in his leg. How am I supposed to continue my training as a gymnast when I have a steel rod in my leg? My leg is broken. Come on. And Socrates replied with a very stoic lesson. The accident is your training. One of the things that the Stoics got absolutely right, in my estimation, is the dogmatic focus on virtue as being the only good. What this means is that everything outside of who you are as a person is indifferent. It's neither good nor bad. Being a gymnast isn't good or bad. Being a good gymnast isn't good or bad. Winning competitions isn't good or bad. Losing competitions is not good or bad. Being a CEO is indifferent. It's not good, nor is it bad. Other people, external people, other than your own actions, it's not good or bad either. Getting that promotion, no, that too is indifferent. The death of your friend, yeah, guess what? The Stoics say that's indifferent too. And having a motorcycle accident, breaking your leg to the point where you have to put a steel rod through it, yeah, that's not really good or bad either in the Stoic sense. This is a very freeing mentality to have, even though initially it may cause you to really think about the philosophy. In a nutshell, for those of us who are seeking excellence and success in life, which is the only really way to live life, understand that attaining whatever your goal is simply indifferent. Isn't that interesting? Attaining whatever your goal is indifferent. Now, that isn't to say that you shouldn't strive for something, but it is to say that the singular focus of your life should be the process in and of itself. Let's take Dan's motorcycle accident as an example. So he had a goal. His goal was, I want to become a world-class gymnast. And he was doing really well, so he was quite along on that goal. He was well on his way to attaining it, but then the accident happened. He got set back, unfortunately. His leg was broken, and his chances of attaining that particular goal went way down. That's bad, right? Well, yeah, it's bad if your goal is to become a world-class gymnast. But if your goal was, say, a Stoic goal, then it wouldn't be to become a world-class gymnast per se. It would, in fact, be to become the most virtuous person you could be. We could also say that it would be to become the best gymnast that you could possibly be. Not the best gymnast, but the best gymnast that you could possibly be. That's another Stoic goal. In Dan's case, life threw him into a motorcycle accident. Where he was, in relationship to the goal he set, was drastically changed. Just like that. He went from a high-level athlete to someone who could barely walk in one very short moment. But what's the response? Remember, being a world-class gymnast was only the peripheral goal, and this is what Socrates, his mentor, the sage, was trying to teach him. His real goal was to become the best gymnast he could be, or become the best person he could be. That's why excellence and virtue are really the same thing. And what that means is that even though where he was changed dramatically in a moment, the process of getting better is still the same. That's logos. Make a plan. Be open to adjust it as you become more wise, and have faith each and every day that the plan is going to work. If you don't, the plan has no chance of working. So when Socrates said to Dan, "The accident is your training," this is what he meant. The accident happened. It's in the past. It's done. It's changed drastically where you are. And that's going to change the plan. But the road itself, the ethos of the road itself, hasn't changed. Have the humility to recognize and accept where you are right now, and then get back to the drawing board. Make a plan, be open to adjusting it as needed, and then have faith each and every day that the plan will work.